The Punic Wars, a series of three epic conflicts waged between Rome and Carthage from 264 to 146 BCE, were a transformative period in ancient history. These wars defined the geopolitical landscape of the Western Mediterranean and marked the ascent of Rome as a dominant imperial power. At its core, the term Punic refers to the people of Carthage, a city-state located in what is now Tunisia, and reflects the Latin term Punicus, derived from the Greek Phoenix, referring to the Phoenician ancestry of the Carthaginians. The significance of the Punic Wars cannot be overstated, as they fundamentally altered the balance of power in the ancient world. By triumphing over Carthage, Rome eradicated its most formidable Mediterranean rival, paving the way for unprecedented expansion. This victory not only ensured the survival and growth of the Roman Republic, but also set the stage for Rome's transition into a vast empire that would shape the course of Western civilization. Two pivotal examples highlight the gravity of these wars. The First Punic War, sparked by rivalry over control of Sicily, culminated in Roman naval dominance, a crucial shift for a power that had been primarily land-based. The Third Punic War, famously resulting in the complete destruction of Carthage in 146 BCE, underscored Roman might and ruthlessness, showcasing their capacity for total warfare. Historians like Polybius have chronicled these events, viewing them as pivotal turning points in Roman history. According to Polybius, the discipline and resilience demonstrated by Rome during the Punic Wars were key to their success and expansion. However, these conflicts also highlight ethical controversies, such as the moral implications of Rome's harsh treatment of conquered peoples, including the infamous destruction of Carthage after the Third War, which led to debates about imperialism and mercy in warfare. Opposing views emphasize the Punic Wars from the Carthaginian perspective, considering the economic and cultural achievements of Carthage that were obliterated by Rome's campaigns. Some modern scholars argue that the wars were more about economic rivalry and control of trade routes than ideological conquest, challenging traditional narratives of Roman virtue versus Carthaginian villainy. The Punic Wars were more than just military engagement. They were catalysts that influenced Roman military strategies, administrative policies, and their transformation into an empire. These wars sowed the seeds of Roman cultural and political development, linking them indelibly to Rome's later domination and legacy across Europe and beyond. As such, understanding the Punic Wars provides crucial insights into the forces that shaped the ancient world and the enduring legacy of Rome. The causes of the First Punic War can be traced back to a combination of economic interests, territorial ambitions, and strategic rivalries between two major powers in the Western Mediterranean, Rome and Carthage. At its core, the conflict originated from Rome's desire to expand its influence beyond the Italian peninsula, and Carthage's determination to maintain its dominance over important trade routes and territories such as Sicily. The significance of the First Punic War lies in its role as the starting point of a series of conflicts that would ultimately determine the control of the Mediterranean world. This war marked the beginning of the Roman Empire's expansion beyond Italy, setting the stage for centuries of Roman dominance. It was a pivotal moment in history, where two competing republics clashed over trade dominance and regional control, ultimately leading to the transformation of Rome from a regional power into a formidable empire. Two specific examples illustrate the causes of the First Punic War. First, the Mamertines, a band of mercenaries, seized the city of Messana in Sicily and sought assistance from both Rome and Carthage, highlighting the strategic importance of Sicily. Rome's decision to aid the Mamertines and counter Carthaginian intervention in Sicily was driven by both defensive tactics and an opportunity to extend influence. Second, the lucrative grain-producing region of Sicily was an economic prize sought by both empires. Control of Sicily meant not only economic gain, but also strategic advantage, as it served as a crucial point for maritime control in the Mediterranean. Supporters of the Roman intervention often argue that it was a necessary move to curb Carthaginian power and protect Roman trade interests. They suggest that Rome had to secure its economic and strategic interests in the face of an expanding Carthaginian navy. On the other hand, some critics argue that Rome's actions were unnecessarily aggressive, spurred by ambition rather than defense, leading to protracted and costly warfare. The challenges and controversies surrounding this war include debates over whether Rome's entry was justified or opportunistic. Carthage perceived Rome's involvement as unwarranted interference. These tensions sparked a long-standing rivalry that influenced subsequent conflicts, paving the way for the Hannibalic Wars, Second Punic War. By understanding the causes of the First Punic War, we gain insight into the broader geopolitical dynamics that shaped the ancient world. This conflict not only set the precedent for future Roman expansion, but also underscored the shifting nature of alliances and enmities that characterized ancient Mediterranean geopolitics. As such, the causes of this war connect deeply to the eventual dominance of Roman power and the decline of Carthaginian influence, influencing the trajectory of Western history. The First Punic War, fought between Rome and Carthage from 264 to 241 BCE, was predominantly a naval conflict focused on control over strategic territories such as Sicily. The major battles and strategies during this war are pivotal to understanding both the military evolution and the political landscape of the ancient Mediterranean world. The First Punic War marked Rome's first large-scale naval engagements, necessitating rapidly developed maritime strategies and innovations. This war was significant because it led to Rome's eventual dominance over the Western Mediterranean and demonstrated the importance of naval power, setting the stage for future military campaigns. Two emblematic examples highlight the war's strategic complexities. First, the Battle of Mylae in 260 BCE showcased Rome's innovative use of the corvus, a boarding device that allowed Roman soldiers to board enemy ships and engage in hand-to-hand combat. This ingenious invention compensated for Rome's initial lack of naval experience and was crucial in turning the tide in their favor. Second, the long-drawn siege of Lilybaeum, 250–241 BCE, demonstrated Rome's commitment to maintaining pressure on Carthage, resulting in eventual Roman control over the fortress despite numerous logistical and tactical challenges. Opinions on these strategies assert that the Roman tenacity and adaptability were key components in their success. Many historians laud Rome's ability to pivot from purely land-based tactics to incorporating complex naval operations into their military doctrine. However, this transition was not without challenges. Rome's reliance on the corvus, for instance, made their ships less stable and more prone to capsizing in rough seas, highlighting a significant vulnerability. Controversies abound regarding the war's heavy toll on both sides, including massive loss of life and resources. Some argue that the war's high cost overshadowed its strategic gains, with critics noting how Carthage managed to keep fighting for nearly 2 decades despite significant setbacks. This raises questions about the true efficacy and necessity of such prolonged conflict. The outcomes of the First Punic War had far-reaching influences on subsequent Roman strategy and policy. The lessons learned from naval operations not only informed Rome's later campaigns, including the famous Second Punic War against Hannibal, but also cemented Rome's approach to empire building, emphasizing control over key geographic locations and securing trade routes. In this way, the major battles and strategies of the First Punic War were not merely isolated military engagements, but were critical in shaping an empire that would dominate the Mediterranean for centuries. The Second Punic War, fought between Rome and Carthage from 218 to 201 BCE, stands as one of the most significant conflicts of the ancient world, largely due to the extraordinary campaign led by the Carthaginian general Hannibal Barca. Hannibal is best known for his daring and strategic military maneuvers, particularly his audacious crossing of the Alps with war elephants, a feat that stunned the Romans and showcased his tactical brilliance. The Second Punic War, therefore, was not merely a series of battles, but a pivotal period that tested the might of Rome and the determination of Carthage. The significance of Hannibal's campaign lies in its direct challenge to Roman supremacy. At a time when Rome was steadily expanding its influence, Hannibal's victories, especially at the Battle of Cannae in 216 BCE, demonstrated the vulnerability of the Roman military and posed a serious threat to the Republic. His campaign forced Rome to rethink its strategies and adapt to the unpredictability of warfare, ultimately contributing to its development into a great military power. Two notable examples of Hannibal's strategic prowess are his use of the double envelopment tactic at Cannae, which resulted in a devastating defeat for the Romans, and his ability to sustain a lengthy campaign within Italy for nearly 15 years without direct support from Carthage. These feats not only highlight Hannibal's ingenuity, but also underscore the war's broader impact, leading to advances in Roman military tactics and fortification. Many historians laud Hannibal's leadership and tactical acumen, considering him one of the greatest military commanders in history. However, some critics argue that while his battlefield genius was unparalleled, his failure to secure long-term allies among Rome's Italian territories and his inability to deliver a decisive blow to Roman power ultimately doomed his campaign. The Second Punic War also intensified the long-standing animosity between Rome and Carthage, setting the stage for the eventual destruction of Carthage in the Third Punic War. Hannibal's campaign, therefore, represents not only a monumental struggle within the Punic Wars, but also a transformative period that reshaped the political and military landscape of the ancient Mediterranean, solidifying Rome's trajectory towards becoming an empire. By understanding Hannibal's campaign, we gain deeper insights into the dynamics of warfare and strategy, as well as the interplay of power and resilience that define this critical juncture in history.